Hey everybody, Fred McKinnon here with eComCatalyst. So one of the most frequent searches that I get here on the channel, one of the videos that gets the most plays and the most comments has to do with the Amazon optimized shipment splits for FBA sellers and those terrible inbound placement fees. I call them IPFs, inbound placement fees. If you thought it was bad when Amazon dropped that on us back in March, well, I've got news for you. It's just gotten a little bit worse, okay? Amazon, once again, about a month ago, just dropped the bomb right in the lap of third-party FBA sellers. Once again, sticking it to us, saying, oh, that's not good enough. We want to jab you in the back a little more. So I'm going to talk about that, what they've changed in this video, because earlier in the spring, I made a series of videos, and they're the most watched videos on this channel. They have to do with inbound placement fees and how to get around them. Amazon shipment splits to FBA. We talked about using Nemo Ship software, Shipment Maker Pro software, other hacks that wound up not working at all. I was glad in those videos I always had a disclaimer to do at your own risk, because everyone was sketchy about whether that was going to work or not, and in the end, it really did not work, okay? But so we've been kind of figuring this out since the spring of 2024, and here we are now in September 2024, and Amazon decided that making us pay the inbound placement fees was not enough. They were going to make it even more complicated now to avoid paying the IPFs. Hang with me to the end of this video. I'm going to explain to you why I think that Amazon's doing all this, and more importantly, I'm going to tell you how you truly can successfully get out of dealing with all this nonsense. So hang with me to the end of the video, okay? All right, let's talk about the changes. They just announced this a few weeks ago. Amazon in the past was saying that, hey, if you're willing to split your shipment to FBA into 5 optimized shipments, then we're gonna waive the inbound placement fees. All right, so that sounds great, except for several things. Number one, it's hard to sometimes get Amazon to even approve an Amazon optimized shipment. For example, or a retail arbitrager, a wholesaler, a reseller, a replens person, and you're putting mixed units in a single case, and you're shipping 2 or 3 cases in of 20 SKU, 10 SKU, you got 5 of this, 10 of that, all in one box. Amazon allows that, but they're never gonna put that on an optimized shipment split, okay? When you mix up SKU in a box like that, unless it's like you got 5 of those boxes that are identical, they're almost never gonna give you an Amazon optimized shipment split, which means you're gonna be paying the IPFs, inbound placement fees. All right, most sellers have just raised their price to compensate for those doggone IPFs, because it's just another way that it's costing us money, taking margin away from us, so we got no choice but to raise the price a little bit. All right, but for those of us who figured it out, we're like, yeah, no problem. I got enough inventory that I'm sending in. I could send to 5 different warehouses. At that point, number 2 comes in. You had to make a cost decision. Was it more expensive to pay the freight for 5 shipments to 5 different locations, at least 1 or 2 of which were probably on the other side of the country? For example, I'm in Georgia, and so when I do an optimized shipment, I have, I've got shipments I have to send all the way to Nevada and California, and the shipping charge alone on that sometimes exceeds what it would be if I just sent it to 1 location on the East Coast and paid the inventory placement fees. So there was always kind of this cost analysis that you had to do on every single shipment to decide. But now Amazon's changed the game again with their new 5 identical box rule. If you've been watching the video and you know a little bit personally about my life, about 3.5 weeks ago, I had rotator cuff surgery on this shoulder here. I'm recovering well, but my arm is tied up in a sling for at least 6 weeks. I've got physical therapy and all kind of crazy stuff, so I'm like, everything is one hand and I can just barely move the other hand. All right, so that being said, Amazon has introduced this new thing called the 5 identical box rule. That means that now, to make it even harder, in order for you to get an Amazon optimized shipment, which will avoid inventory placement fees, you have to have at least 1 identical case of the same product in the same quantity on each of the 5 shipments. Now that makes things really hard, right? At least one case of the same SKU in the same quantity on 5 different boxes. So before, if you were sending 100 units of SKU A, 100 units of SKU B, 100 units of SKU C, D, and E, and let's say you're going, cool, I'll send 100 destination 1, I'll send 100 of SKU B to destination 2, SKU C to destination 3, and so forth, you'd still get your 5 pallets. Maybe you would avoid the IPFs, but no, not now. Amazon says no. If you have 100 units of SKU A, then you have to have a case of 100 units of SKU A on pallet 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all right? Or you got to break that thing up and put 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Whatever the amount that you're sending in has to be divisible by 5 so that it can be split up, okay? Now, the same thing applies to UPS, to partner carrier, when you're sending inbound on parcel like UPS, okay? So the other day, I was sending 12 cases of a widget. I actually have a video already shot. It's being edited, and I'm showing you this. By the time this video comes out, the video I'm mentioning now will already be on the channel. So go back and look for it, and I'll talk all about it. But I was sending 5 colors of a widget, and there was 100 in each box, okay? But I wasn't sending 5 cases of each. So I did not qualify for Amazon optimized shipment. And as a result, I would have had to pay inventory placement fees had I moved forward with that. So, let's just kind of look right at the nitty gritty of what Amazon says themselves on their website here. And you can see this is the same page where they introduced it before, but we're just going to see right here. When you create a shipping plan, you can select any one of the following inventory inbound placement options. For minimal shipment splits, that means it's going to cost you less to send it because you're only sending it to 1 or 2 locations. So your freight will be lower there. You can send your inventory to the minimal number of inbound locations, generally even to a single location, for a fee. That fee is the IPF, inventory placement fee. We will decide on your behalf how to place the inventory across our network, okay? Then we get down to what we are all wanting, which is partial or Amazon optimized shipment splits. This is when we're saving money on the IPF, but again, you have to do a cost analysis because it may actually cost you more due to the increased outbound freight to go to 4 or 5 locations. All right. I want to pause right now. And just before we even get into that, remind you of a couple of things. Okay. The first thing is I would love to ask you if this is helpful that you would subscribe to our channel. I like to just kind of stop in the middle and just remind you. I saw a stat yesterday that nearly 80% of the people that watch all of the channels here on YouTube, all of the videos, are not subscribed to the eComCatalyst channel. Hey, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment, let you know subscribe. I'll be happy to hear that. All right. Number 2, hang on to the end of this video. I'm almost done, and I'm gonna tell you exactly in that other example why I didn't go forward with it and the solution that I have for you to avoid inbound placement fees altogether. That really works, and it's not sketchy, and it's not using creepy third-party software that you gotta get in trouble for like we had back in the spring, okay? Now, coming back here, partial or Amazon optimized shipment splits. Send your inventory to multiple inbound locations yourself for a reduced or no fee. The reduced fees will depend on the number of shipments and yada, yada, yada. Here's where it gets into the crazy thing. To qualify for the Amazon optimized inbound option with no inbound fee, your shipments must include at least 5 identical cartons or pallets per item. Each carton or pallet must contain the same quantity per item and the same item mix. If you select the placement option in which you send your inventory to a partial number of inbound locations, generally 2 or 3, you will pay a reduced fee. Now, everyone who has read this agrees that that is about as clear as mud. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Are they saying you have to send 5 pallets full of everything, 5 identical pallets with the exact same number of boxes? It's not clear. It's not clear at all, and there's varying reports, but I can only tell you my experience. My experience over the last 2 weeks is this. As long as each SKU that is in your shipment, A, is on each of the 5 shipments, and B, there is at least one master carton with the same quantity as the others, you're okay. It's gonna approve the Amazon optimized shipment. For example, I set up a shipment for one of our clients, eComCatalyst. We're a full service Amazon marketing agency. If you're a full-time client of ours, we do full service management, including building your FBA replenishments, your WFS replenishments to Walmart, sending these orders in, setting up the shipments, sending you the labels and everything else. So doing this for a client, and we had a product where there is 18 units per carton. All right, so I forget how many. Let's say we're sending 100 cartons, right? Whatever it wasn't divisible by 5. I remember it was 24 cartons. We sent 24 cartons, okay? That's not divisible by 5. So I wondered if it would work, because I could do, for example, 5 cartons on the first 4 pallets. That's 20, and then only 4 cartons on the 5th pallet. Was that gonna work? I wasn't sure, because the 5 cartons of 18 on each of the first 4 pallets didn't match only 4 cartons of 18 on the 5th pallet. I tried it and it worked perfectly. Everything was fine. And I think the reason that it worked perfectly was because on that 5th pallet, I had at least 1 case of 18 units of that same SKU. It doesn't have to be perfectly divisible by 5 if you're sending more than 1 case, all right? But if you're only sending 1 case of each, then it needs to be 5 cases, okay? You gotta have at least 5 master cartons or cases with the same quantity of the same widget on each of those. What I didn't take time to find out is if there were items that were on pallets 1, 2, 3, and 4 that weren't on 5. I don't suspect that they were. I'm almost positive that they weren't. And I want us to take a look now at Amazon at the page we were just looking at. And I'll link to this page in the video show notes. Let's look at that. And if you scroll way down here, Amazon is gracious enough to give us a real world example that still is pretty hard to understand. So way down at the bottom of this, they give you examples, okay? And in example 1, we see this particular shipment is optimized and eligible for Amazon optimized option, all right? Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cartons, and you see 120, 120, 120 with 2 items. So this carton has actually 2. So it is a split. It's a mixed item, but it's mixed the same. Each of these cartons has 2 SKU in it. It has 100 of SKU 1 and 20 of SKU 2, and it's the same all the way down. That's eligible. But then they come down here to this one, and they don't like it. And the reason they don't like it is because all cartons except carton number 5 have items number 1 and 2 in it. So this plan is not eligible because, as you see on number 5 here, there is no units of SKU number 2 in that carton. That one made it ineligible. And then there's another example at the bottom. So this is new. This is new to the fall. It makes things even more complicated than it was before when you're talking about Amazon optimized shipment splits and inventory inbound placement fees and whether or not you want to pay them. All right. One big reminder is when you're calculating IPF's inventory placement fee, look at the fee that you're paying and make a cost decision on whether or not it's just worth it to pay the fee, because your Amazon optimized shipment splits or a partial split, even though the fee may be gone or less, the outbound freight may be more. It really kind of depends on how many widgets are in the box. If there's a lot of smaller widgets in the box, it's almost always going to be more expensive to pay the IPF than it is to just send it to 5 different locations. Now, finally, as promised, I want to tell you how you can avoid this altogether. And if you've been watching my channel, you know I'm big on it. AWD, Amazon Warehousing and Distribution. Instead of sending your product to FBA, send it to AWD instead. So many reasons why. Number 1, the storage fees are dramatically less. And there's no storage fee increase in the peak season for what is in an AWD, Amazon Reserve Storage Warehouse. Number 2, Amazon will take it upon themselves to fulfill and drip your inventory from AWD into the FBA warehouse for a pretty reasonable price for inbounding it from AWD to FBA. But the thing is, when they do it, you do not have to worry about split shipments. You do not have to worry about inbound placement fees. You do not have to worry about low inventory level fees or excess inventory level fees, because Amazon's algorithm is auto replenishing it for you. They take that that burden upon themselves. And to answer a question I get often, yes, you can set it on auto replenish, but that doesn't mean that your hands are tied. You can also manually replenish from AWD to FBA. So the example I was giving earlier, go back on my channel. You will see a video that I'm just releasing like in this week or next. It's not out yet, but I'm going through a very, very specific example of a shipment that I sent with the 12 cases with 100 units in each of, so 1,200 units, 5 different colors. I didn't have enough to send the same amount to all 5 locations, so I sent it to AWD, and that always works, okay? Now, I want to wrap this up by thanking you for watching. This is really confusing. If you're not sure, leave a comment, ask a question. That's what I'm here for, to help you. If you need help with this in your Amazon business, reach out to us at eComCatalyst.com. You can book a free consultation. If you need management, if you need someone to help optimize your listings, SEO, back-end keyword research, competitor research, take over all your FBA logistics, do all of your Amazon PPC. That's what we exist to do. To help you, we want to be the catalyst that helps your brand skyrocket profitably on Amazon. The last thing I like to ask is that if this is helpful, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, let everybody know about it. Come over to eComCatalyst.com, sign up for our email newsletter, and make sure you're subscribed to this channel. You'll get notifications. I go live. I answer questions on this channel. Love to go live. When I go live, I want you there asking your questions. Thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for watching.